Now we're about to go from Brandon Bailey to Brandon Shepard as we move on to the light heavyweight division. That's 205 pounds. A couple of debuting fighters. We've got Brandon Shepard about to take on Cameron Mcintosh. Interesting to see what they bring to the table. Brandon Shepard right here in his hometown of Akron, Ohio, taking on Cameron Mcintosh out of Louisville. Interesting, we talk about some of these guys, wrestling backgrounds. Some of them play football. Brandon Shepard played rugby at local Coventry High School. So interesting to see if how those rugby skills can translate to the MMA. And I would gather they would translate very well.
It's not the traditional mixed martial arts background. However, for anybody who's played rugby, you know that there's a lot of body control. You have to be in control, and there's hand-to-hand type combat without the pads of football.
That's right. There's just really a lot of guys in there, and this isn't completely foreign to him from a rugby background.
Let's send it inside the cage to George Phillips to bring out our next fighter.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next bout of the evening is scheduled for three-minute rounds that takes place in the 205-pound weight division. Introducing your combatants. First, fighting out of the red corner, please welcome Brandon Shepard.
Brandon Shepard, as you pointed out, from right here in Akron, Ohio. Excited to be here.
That's right. He's got to be very happy to be doing this in his hometown. He's an independent fighter. He's been sparring with the meat cleaver, Adam Bennett, who we saw in our opener. He says he's been training for this fight for 30 days. That's not a long amount of time. He says his style is really offensive, and we're going to see if he can do it. Let's see if the Outlaw can bring this raw rugby background. Again, not a whole lot of experience even attempting this sport in there against Cameron Mcintosh.
Well, man, Adam Bennett, you pointed out, he fought in the first fight. He got a first-round stoppage win in his debut. Brandon Shepard looking to do something very similar. He's fighting, this is a battle of two debuting fighters and both very young.
That's right. So we could see some very unrefined action, but we usually see some very good action.
Let's bring out Shepard's opponent.
His opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, please welcome Cameron Mcintosh.
Cameron Mcintosh, 18 years old, fighting with Victory MMA, Terry Blackwell, Drew Schottenheimer, a couple real experience. As I call them, OGs in Ohio MMA.
That's right. They're a very strong team. They've been around here for a long time. And Mcintosh, their latest protege. And one thing I'm looking forward to seeing out of Cameron Mcintosh is what he calls his highlight reel punches and crazy kicks. Don't we all love highlight reel punches and crazy kicks?
Well, this is the intermission's right after this fight. And for one, this Cameron Mcintosh, when we take a look at the tail of tape, significant height advantage, 5 inches there. But this is one of the fighters on the early portion of the card I'm most looking forward to because of Drew Schottenheimer and the words he had about him. I respect Drew Schottenheimer. Like I said, he's been around this game for a long time. He says he'll bite down on his mouthpiece, throw a lot of crazy kicks, and a phenomenal wrestler. So really, for a debut fighter, those are strong words from someone who knows.
And when you have someone who has that kind of background, that kind of respect, when they turn him loose into the cage and say, you're ready for your first fight, they usually are ready. So sometimes we'll see a debuting fighter out of a very reputable camp, and they come in there, they really know what they're doing. They don't look like a debuting fighter. We'll see if that's the case with Cameron Mcintosh.
Well, part of that is who you're training with. Yeah. When you say independent, right away there's a bunch of question marks because you don't know where they're getting rounds in. I know Terry Blackwell, Drew Schottenheimer, Andrew Law. These guys are really real veterans. They know what they're doing, and they're going to get him ready for this environment.
And Law is a great example of someone who started here as an amateur and became a very successful pro.
Mcintosh is in the cage. We send it back inside to George Phillips.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next bout of the evening is scheduled for three-minute rounds and takes place in the 205-pound weight division. Once again, two debut fighters. One will walk out undefeated, and someone's has got to go. Your referee in charge of the action is Jerry Chris. Introducing your combatants. First, fighting out of the red corner. This mixed martial artist stands 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighed in at 188 pounds. Tonight, he makes his MMA debut inside this cage. He is an independent fighter and hails from the rubber city of Akron, Ohio. Please welcome the Outlaw, Brandon Shepard. his opponent across the cage to my left, fighting out of the blue corner. This mixed martial artist stands 6 feet 3 inches tall and weighed in at 194 pounds. Tonight, he makes his MMA debut inside this cage. He represents Victory MMA and hails from Louisville, Ohio. Please welcome Tarzan Cameron Mcintosh.
Well, we're looking forward to the highlight reel punches and crazy kicks, but it would be really wise for Mcintosh to use that 7-inch height advantage. 6'3" to Brandon Shepard at 5'8".
McIntosh in the black with white trim. Brandon Shepard in the red. Jerry Chris, one of the top officials in the state of Ohio referees, is the third man in the cage. And look, McIntosh, real nice head movement, and just touching up Shepard with that left jab.
It's working out perfectly, using that reach.
Really, really patient McIntosh. Very impressed with his patience so far. There's a teep.
And this is what we talk about, someone coming from a very reputable camp in his debut, looking very polished in there.
Using that left, and I look for McIntosh to come back with that right behind it. So far, he's using as a rangefinder the left jab. The rangefinder is also just touching up the face of Shepard. See, there it is again.
And I wondered if Shepard's going to realize that maybe this kind of exchange might not be to his advantage.
Well, he's having trouble. He can't find a way to close this distance, and right now he's not defending himself very well either.
Right, he can't get in there without getting tagged. He's getting tagged a lot,
McIntosh.
And that's it.
Wow.
That is it.
That was a very one-sided fight. The nose of Shepard's opened up. And McIntosh just poured it on.
And a Tarzan yell, I think we got at the end from McIntosh.
Really impressive debut. I'll be honest, he lived up to the hype that Schottenheimer had about him.
That's right, and he used that height very impressively and very intelligently, and that shows, like you said, again, a good background there from Victory MMA, that we've got a prospect on our hands just like that. Let's see this again.
Cameron McIntosh putting them together, only 18 years old, and you can see just too much. Shepard just did not know how to defend the strikes.
He didn't have an answer. He was, you could tell striking was his game, but he wasn't going to be able to play that game tonight.
Yeah, he closed the distance. He found the opportunity, and he overwhelmed him. And that was all around a great performance by Cameron McIntosh. I don't think he got hit.
I think he barely, if at all, got hit. Yeah, you're right. And now McIntosh is, just like that, you look in the 205-pound weight division, this is a guy that you've got to be careful of. He's got a great team behind him, and he's got some great striking using that height.
Really impressive. These fighters are in the cage. George Phillips making the walk up the stairs. We send it inside to make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 52 seconds of round number 1. Your winner by TKO due to strikes, and now undefeated inside the cage, Tarzan Cameron McIntosh.